Am I in focus? Okay. Hi everyone, Miranda here. Hello, how are you today? I'm weirdly weird. Today I have a discussion for you all, and this is called Female Protagonists in YA Books. I'm pointing at you if you're a female and you watch. This is the first of my many discussion videos. The first discussion video that I basically did was on hashtag YA Books Gotta Change, and that was a hashtag started by Macy. In that video that I did for that hashtag, I talked about some of the things in YA books that I want to change. I've gone off one of the topics today that I talked about in that video and decided, hey, let's have a more in-depth discussion about female protagonists in YA books. The other topics I discussed in that video, were male, sex, diversity and all that stuff. So if you have another topic that you want me to discuss in detail, leave it down below. It might even be disabilities in YA books. One thing I want to bring forward in today's discussion is are female protagonists giving us as females unrealistic views and expectations on how to be, and as the reader, expectations in how a female protagonist should be in every novel. So for example, should the female protagonist be brave and heroic, or should they be shy and grow into being brave? First off, let's talk about the female perspective. I love books told by female protagonists. I love books also told by male protagonists. I think with the female though, I can relate more to them. I feel a certain connection more so than when I read from a male's point of view, and I think males would feel the same way, than reading from a female's point of view. I end up relating more to the female points of view in the contemporary genre, just because they have some everyday thoughts. When you start dealing with fantasies and all that stuff, they kind of have thoughts that are out of this world because of their surroundings and the type of character. Whether, books like Ugly Love, for example, I am no way in that situation like that main character, but her views and the way she interprets the situation that she is in would be exactly me, so I can really relate to that. Let's go back a couple of years. Originally, female protagonists were always the ones that had to be rescued by the male. Very early on when I started to read YA, that's how I saw it. The female always had to be shy and scared, and then, something would happen to her, and then she'd be rescued by the male, and then she'd grow to be brave. Like, that's the way I was brought up in the whole, YA genre to do with females. Because back then I would read Twilight or I'd read Fallen. Recently now, females have changed and developed so much in YA books. You see them as these brave heroines. Like, you see, Katniss in the Hunger Games, she's so brave and powerful. Or you see Selena from, Throne of Glass, and she's just so kick-ass right from the beginning. Or Triss in Divergent, the sacrifices she makes for her people, and it's her, society is just like, wow. Females in general have really come out of their shell. However, I have found that due to these certain ways that a female character tends to have to be, there has been a lot of cliches that have come through that over time. For example, let's talk about the love triangles. I used to love triangles when I was about 16, 17, 18. Recently now though, I am starting to not love them as much as I used to. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm getting older, because I ended up half the time knowing what character the female's gonna pick. But what I do like now, if they have them, is love squares. Like, I've gone from the triangle to the square, like from the window to the wall. Love triangles seem to have become a cliche in most female protagonists' life. It always seems to be, if there's a trilogy, the female will start off being obsessed with one guy in the first book. In the second book, we'll meet the second guy, and he'll kind of be in the first book, and then by the third book, she has to make a choice. A selection. Nah. In real life, there can be such things as love triangles. Females in general can get themselves into these little lovey-dovey love triangles, but in real life, it doesn't exist. Love triangles don't exist. So being a, YA reader and a young adult, sometimes you would think, oh, this will happen to me, this is my expectations on how I want love to be and how I think it's gonna go. Love doesn't go that way. It also brings us into certain expectations that we want males to have on us. We want them to be romantic, and we want them to, always be there when we need them, and love us, and yeah, just the way they are in books. And that doesn't necessarily exist all the time. When I was younger, I used to find that, you know, even with the loss of virginity and all that stuff, that I was so set on, oh, it would happen just like a book. It happens exactly like the book, and it doesn't in real life. And I found, you know, when I was younger and coming into nowadays, apart from saying that, it's lovely the world that authors can create and the characters that, you know, authors can create, and we can mash our perfect guy as well into a character. Cliches have also come from female protagonists, such as mindset. Now this is a very interesting thing that I wanted to bring up, that I find that every single book goes down by. Some books are very similar to each other with the way that the females think. Duff, and then you take Dumpling. Look at the mindset that the author's trying to bring out. You know, it's to dealing with being a bit overweight and dealing with, you know, the struggles of being a teenager in high school with this. I find that there's a similar theme, you know, just put into it. If you're overweight and stuff like that, you will find, you know, this hot guy. And I don't know, reading the two of them, I just found them very, very similar. They were different in some ways, but they had this similar thing going on. I love the messages in the books that, you know, you should be proud with the way you look in your own shell, coming out with that. But I think we can handle it and we can go down it in a different way. If you can bring that in all books, you know, for all shapes and sizes, for all cultures and stuff like that as well, that type of thing of being happy in your own body is only aimed in books where the main female protagonist has, you know, is suffering with something like body weight. I'm going to be comparing now, they're kind of different topics, but Shatter Me, Juliet at the beginning is very shy and she grows into being a character. The same I could say is with Loose and Fallen. She starts off very, and as she grows, and by Rapture, she's just like kick-ass and fighting and blah, 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 blah. Two very different books. We're starting to get to the stage where either the character has to start off being shy and then become brave, or be brave from the very start, like Selena. And I think the message they're trying to send is you're either born with it or it either comes through time. It kind of annoys me, that cliche, because I think some people out there are genuinely brave in their own way. Next thing with females is I hate common names. I hate, like, if your name's Sarah out there, I'm very sorry, but genuinely I don't like the name Sarah. I hate common names in general. I hate Rachel, you know, Tiffany is.
I don't like common names. I just don't like common names. That's just being always me. I like weird names.
And I don't even like my own name. I hate my name of Miranda. So I really love authors come up with new and unique names for their characters. That's something that Sarah J. Maas has down pat, because I love the names that she creates for her characters, even though half the time they're very annoying to pronounce. And I could say the same for male common names. I hate male common names. Oh my god. Next thing I'd like to talk about is the loss of virginity. Now, I will be talking like having more of a detailed thing for sex in YA, but the loss of virginity for a female protagonist is like, oh, it's a moment. What I hate here is it doesn't happen the way it does in books. We need books to explain it the way it is, you know, not go off in these fairy tale things. Like, look at the way it happened in Mortal Instruments. Like, it does not happen that way. Authors explain it to be such a fantastic, wonderful experience, when in actual fact it's very normal. I would like it more in the future if authors can write it the way it naturally happens. You know, it just happens. It doesn't have to be this, you know, $1 million experience. I mean, look at Mara Dyer, how the way she kissed Noah and blossoms formed, and the way that was just described was just, oh my god. I have a feeling that we don't deal enough with certain themes in my books, things that like relate to everyday life if we don't get them into contemporary books. Themes such as abortion and getting pregnant are often avoided unless you're writing a contemporary. I think this would just be an interesting path to go down to, because there's obviously some teenagers out there that, you know, do go through these things. And I think if they were talked about in YA books, kind of maybe slowly at first and then brought in more, I think we could educate people a bit more about them, because it does happen. And I find it really weird that half the time, you know, characters can sleep with someone and not get pregnant. Like, I find that just so bizarre and so weird. I love when, you know, characters come in and they have a diversity within their parents. You know, one like Born of Shadow, one of her parents was Egyptian and her other parent was American. Like, I find that so interesting to read about. And I don't necessarily always love reading about happy families, you know, having a family that the mum's there and the dad's there and everyone's happy, because I wasn't brought up that way. And this is my next topic that I want to kind of bring in. Females that are protagonists, not many of them are, you know, bisexual or lesbian. And I think that in nowadays we should kind of express this more and not be afraid to bring it into YA books. So now we should be educating even younger children about the topic, and it shouldn't even be a big deal nowadays. Another cliche is the girl always ends up falling for the hot guy or the bad boy, or, you know, no one really goes for the nerd, or even if they do go for the nerd always is a good looker as well. What do you think of the way that sometimes females are described in books? We all have that one feature that we really love about ourselves, but sometimes I find that, you know, there's always that like one feature in a book that's always perfect about the girl. You know, what about if they're insecure about all their features? High school drama and how they face it as well. On the topic of friends that a girl may have, they always seem to have either two girl best friends, a girl and a guy, two guys. And that's very cliche, and I cannot stand that. Why can't they just have like a pack, or, you know, it can be told from the point of view that the girl has multiple friends all around the school. Like, why does she either have to be segregated or a loner? In high school, I used to go around to all the different gangs, so if I wrote something, I'd want to bring that in. There are some female protagonists also expressed as brave, but not wise. For example, Bella in Twilight. Oh, some of the situations you get yourself into, girl, but you're brave, but you're not wise. I want to see brave expressed in other realistic ways. Brave seems to be always expressed through the character having to do something massive, something really big to change the world. Even in maybe Dumpling, you know, she goes up on stage and she's in a contest. Something like that, something that they do that's personal to them to change the world, and it doesn't have to be something massive. Obviously, I understand in fantasies why that may have to happen. It's in an everyday contemporary, if it's something within themselves that has to come out, why can't we talk more about people with disabilities in books, or have a, you know, a female protagonist that's, you know, brave and coming out with her disability, or, you know, she deals with everyday life, but you see her being brave for how she deals with what she has. Brave, there could be like a girl that's kick-ass and, you know, kung fu or fighting or whatever, but she's like an everyday person without the attitude of being all up herself. For example, brave like Rachel in Ali Marnie's, you know, the Everest series. Rachel's a normal country girl, but she's brave in the way that she can just get down and dirty, you know, with things because she's had experience with the animals. This scene where she's on the scaffold, and then there's these situations that she gets in the book that are just so bizarre, but she's just an ordinary girl at the end of the day. But she, you know, tests and pushes herself, and she's not up herself about it. One thing I do love about, you know, female protagonists is they take shit from no one, and now us being females seem to be getting stronger and having more opinions and being more out there in society, and I really love that. And I love how that's now more expressed in YA books. What do you want to see more of with female protagonists? Comment down below and let me know. Otherwise, comment down below and let me know another topic you'd like me to discuss like this. I am Miranda. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.